Today I'm going to do a quick comparison between the OnePlus 11 and the LG V60. Now, of course, the LG V60 came out 2020 and the OnePlus 11 came out this year. So there is a 3-year gap. But still, it's just a comparison. No biggie. All right, I'm going to try to make this quick. This is going to be much quicker than my usual comparisons, okay? So I'm not going to cover everything. So, you know, I'm sure people are going to get in the comments, you didn't mention this, you didn't mention that. I'm not mentioning everything, okay? I'm just mentioning the basics, you know, the things that are most important to most people, okay? All right, let's get started. Both of these are flagship devices, top tier flagship devices. Both unlock for all carriers. So that's a good thing. So you don't have to worry about any restrictions. Unlock for all carriers. Next, let's talk about the design. They both have a unique design. Now, I'm just going to be totally honest and transparent. I prefer the design of the OnePlus 11. It's not because this phone is older. No, I just like the design with these cameras. And I also like the way this feels. So when it comes to design, I like the design of the 11 Pro. And that's subjective. So just because I say I like the OnePlus 11 design better doesn't mean that it's necessarily better. It just means that I like it better. That's my opinion. So you may like the design of the LG V60 better, and that's cool. Next, let's talk about build quality. Now, both of these, Gorilla Glass Victus, Gorilla Glass 5 on the back, Gorilla Glass 5 on the front, Gorilla Glass 6 on the back. So both have excellent build quality. However, I do like the build quality of the OnePlus 11 a little better. I just love the way this material feels, this matte finish. But both have excellent build quality. Both will hold up with drops. Okay. Next, let's talk about button placement. Now, both of these devices have similar button placements because on the side here, you got the power button. Only thing bad about the button placement on the LG V60, as you can see, both have the power button on the right, but the power button is just way too high. You know, I mean, if you're somebody that have large hands and long fingers, it's not going to be a problem for you, but they put the power button just a little too high. With the OnePlus 11, it's right here, very easily reachable. You have your rockers. It's more like towards the middle of the device, so they're easily to get to. With the LG V60, they're higher up. They're way up here, about as high, almost as high as the power button. So they're way up here. Of course, you got the dedicated Google button here. So the button placement on the OnePlus 11, I like it better, even though I prefer having all my buttons on the right side. But that's also personal preference. Next, let's talk about biometrics. Now, when it comes to biometrics, the OnePlus 11 has face unlock and an in-display fingerprint sensor, but the LG only has a in-display fingerprint sensor. So, I got a problem, more so with the LG, but let's start with the OnePlus. Now, the face unlock works really well. The fingerprint sensor works pretty good. And the thing I like about it, it's at a good spot. That's where it should be. When you look at the LG, you can see here how much lower the fingerprint sensor is, way down here, when it should be up here. So I don't like the placement of the fingerprint sensor on the LG. It does work well, you know, but I just like it better on the OnePlus 11. They both have animation. They both have haptic feedback, which is good. And you can change the animation on both. So that's cool. But when it comes to biometrics overall, I got to give it to the OnePlus 11 because it has face unlock plus an in-display fingerprint sensor. And the placement is better on the OnePlus 11. Next, let's talk about always-on display. As you can see, both have an always-on display. Both are really good. Both can get nice and bright. Both are customizable, but I do prefer the OnePlus 11 display better. Sometimes now it just goes back and forth, but sometimes with the notifications, sometimes they are colored and they are bigger and easier to see. As you can see how small the notifications are on the LGV60 and how much bigger they are on the OnePlus 11. Now, if you have young eyes, not going to be a problem, but my eyes are old now, 55 years old, so it's harder for me to be able to see what type of notification it is unless I'm looking hard because it's so small. So when it comes down to the always on display, I do prefer the always on display on the OnePlus 11, but they both have an always on display and they're both really good. Just a matter of personal preference. Next, let's talk about the displays. So with the OnePlus, you got the 6.7 inch Quad HD Plus LTPO3 fluid AMOLED display with Dolby Vision, 512 pixel density, you know, all that 120 hertz. Beautiful display, no question about it. Just talked about this in a previous video. The display is beautiful. And as you can see, no bezels. No bezels at all. I mean, I love a display where you're getting all display. I love that, except for your little punch out for the camera. However, with the LGV60, you got a 6.8 inch 1080p display. So no Quad HD display, but it's still beautiful. It does get really bright, but my biggest problem is that notch. And this one definitely has bigger, thicker bezels around the whole display. But if you put a case on it like this, you really won't see the bezels because this case is so black and dark, it kind of covers it up. But there's no covering up that notch. You know, and I use that that thing where you can cover it, but it's only for the home page. As soon as you go into other apps, that notch comes back, so it's irrelevant to me. Now, which one has the better display for me and my money is going to be the OnePlus 11. It's a Quad HD display. 1080p is beautiful, but Quad HD is better. And no bezels and no notch. So I'm going with the OnePlus 11 when it comes to display. Next, when it comes to water and dust resistance, the OnePlus 11 Pro only comes with IP64 splash proof. You know, that's okay, but that's really not good enough. With the LGV60, IP68 water and dust resistance. So you're getting the full water and dust resistance with the LGV60. Next, let's talk about internal storage. Both of these come with 128 gigs of internal storage, but you can get 256. And also with the OnePlus 11, you can get 512 gigs, which OnePlus finally is giving us more storage. They've been keeping us from 512 forever. So finally you can get a 512 variant. However, no 512 variant with the LGV60. 256 is the max. Next, let's talk about expandable storage. You're only getting expandable storage on the LGV60, and you can expand it up to 2 terabytes. Unfortunately, no expandable storage on the OnePlus 11. Now, if you're a type of person that don't really need storage like that, you'll be perfectly fine with having the OnePlus 11 with no expandable storage. However, for me, I prefer a device with expandable storage because I use it a lot, a whole lot. Next, let's talk about dual stereo speakers. Now, this one is pretty interesting. Both of these devices have great dual stereo speakers. They really do. Now, it's hard. I'd say they both A+, but the LGV60 speakers do get louder. But I guess quality, I give a slight, I mean a real slight edge to the OnePlus 11. But the LGV60 speakers are definitely louder, no question about it. But just for overall quality, I'll give the OnePlus 11 just a slight lead. And that's just my ears. Your ears can hear something totally different. Next, let's talk about audio. Ain't really nothing to talk about here. Neither one of these have a headphone jack, so you got to get your sound through. Well, I'm sorry, the LGV60 does come with a 32 millimeter headphone jack. The OnePlus 11 don't. But what makes it not even close, or not even nothing to talk about when it comes to audio, is that the LGV60 comes with a 32-bit hi-fi quad DAC. That is unbelievable. It's awesome. Okay, with impedance headphones or high impedance or not, this 32-bit hi-fi quad DAC is amazing. It really is. It takes your audio listening or audio experience to a whole nother level. It really does. Now, the OnePlus is not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it just can't compete with the 32-bit hi-fi quad DAC of the LGV60. It just can't compete. Next, let's talk about battery life. Now, both of these devices have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You're going to get great battery life on both of these devices. I can get a day and a half on both. That's with moderate to heavy. So when it comes to battery life, you're not going to have any battery anxiety on either one of these devices. Next, let's talk about battery charging speeds. Of course, the OnePlus 11 comes with 100-watt super fast charging. LGV60, unfortunately, quick charge 4.0, hour and 43 minutes from 0 to 100. 0 to 100, 35 minutes. So when it comes to battery charging speeds, the OnePlus 11 is killing the LGV60. Next, let's talk about wireless charging. Unfortunately, the OnePlus 11 does not come with wireless charging. That's something OnePlus made a mistake, in my opinion, leaving that out. However, the LGV60 does come with wireless charging, even though it's dirt slow. Takes you over 3 hours to fully charge this device, but it does have the wireless charging coil on here as compared to the OnePlus not having any wireless charging at all. Next, let's talk about RAM management. You're going to get excellent RAM management with both of these devices. Next, let's talk about the LGV60 dual screen case. Now, every time I do a comparison or do something with the LG, I always forget to bring that dual screen case, but you all have seen it. I mean, I've done other videos with it. So this comes with a dual screen case, which you could basically get two full-size displays, take your excuse me, you know what I'm trying to say, your multi-action. I know it ain't multi-action, but my mind just got fried, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, sorry, it just came to me. Take your multitasking to a whole nother level with the LGV60. You're not getting that with the OnePlus 11. Slap that case on there, you're getting two full displays, and you can run them both at the same time with two different apps. Gotta love that dual screen case for those of you that have it. If you don't have it, you might want to invest in that dual screen case. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Next, the OnePlus 11 does have the alert slider. Now, that's not going to be a big deal for most people. For some people it is, where you could take it, go from normal to vibrate to silent with the switch right on the side of the phone. You don't have that with the LGV60. Now, it's not a big deal for me having it because my phone stays on vibrate 365. But for those of you that don't have to have your phone like that, you're going to love that alert slider. Next, the LGV60 does come with pen support. No pen support on the OnePlus 11. That might be a big deal for some. Just got to put that out there. You will get pen support on the LGV60. Next, let's talk about performance. Now, the OnePlus comes with the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, and Oxygen OS, and Android 13. LGV60 comes with the Snapdragon 865, and of course LG Skin, and also Android 13. All right, but I gotta be honest, you're gonna get great performance out of both of these devices, no question about it. But the OnePlus is smoother and it is a little bit faster, which makes sense because it's a newer device. It's a 2023 device This is a 2020 device, but this LGV60 is no slouch. It can hold its own when it comes to speed and smoothness. It's no slouch, trust me. It ain't like the OnePlus 11 is blowing away the LGV60 when it comes to performance. That is not true. But this phone is a little smoother and a little bit faster, but both will give you great performance. Next, let's talk about future software updates. Now, the OnePlus 11 is going to give you 4 years of OS updates, 5 years security patches. Unfortunately, with the LGV60, no more Android updates, and I believe this is on its last year of security patches. So I don't know if it's going to end this year or early next year, but this phone is going to last you a lot longer. Now, everybody don't care about software updates. I don't. It don't bother me at all because I'm going to use my phone regardless whether it's getting updated or not if I like the phone. And it already has security built into it. So I'm not really worried about that. And most time when I do certain things, I'm home anyway. And I got, my Wi-Fi is encrypted. So it's no big deal. But for those of you that software updates are a big deal and it's important to you, you want to go with the OnePlus 11. And finally, the cameras. Now, you're going to get a great camera performance on both of these devices. Okay? Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be completely honest. With the video, with that manual mode, you're going to get better video on the LGV60. And also, with the LGV60, you're getting 4K at 60 frames per second on the front camera. You're not getting that on the OnePlus 11 Pro. You're only getting 4K at 30. So, of course, you get 4K at 60. You're also getting 8K. You're also getting 8K on the OnePlus 11, but you're not getting 4K on the front-facing camera. For some people, that's a big deal. So both of these cameras are going to give you a great experience. However, with the photos, I like the OnePlus a little bit better. But the LG, once again, no slouch, going to get excellent photos on the LGV60 as well. But I definitely like the video quality of the LGV60 over the OnePlus 11. I'm not saying that to say that you're not going to get a great video experience with the camera on the OnePlus 11. I'm not saying that, but this manual mode on this LGV60 is just incredible. It really is, even for a phone this old. It's just incredible. It really is. So that's my comparison between the OnePlus 11 and the LGV60. Both of these phones are great devices. You can't go wrong with either. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to price, you're going to pay considerably less for the LGV60 than that of the OnePlus 11. You could find this now for $200 or less. This phone just came out, so you're still looking at least $650 minimum. $650 minimum, $200 or less with the LGV60 renewed on Amazon. I would get it from Amazon renewed because you have up to 90 days, and then if you don't like it or if it's giving you problems, you could always send it back. But I've never had an issue with any of Amazon renewed devices. They look and they work like they're brand new. So that was my comparison between the OnePlus 11 and the LGV60. I hope everybody out there is staying safe, staying well, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.